beautifully shot. They're certainly beautifully framed, and they're big, they're large scale. You know, he wants to provoke a reaction. He wants us to look hard at the scenes that he's depicting, and there's certainly a statement that he's making there by, you know, the scale of the artworks on display.
Extraordinarily beautiful. I mean, they just take your breath away. They're just so unbelievably beautifully lit and staged, and each photograph is absolutely loaded with meaning.
It feels sculptural, it feels painterly, and it definitely evokes tension.
It's kind of no accident that an artist who has quietly and over 40 years, he has found means of showing, of representing American society to itself, that he would embark on such an exhibition. He uses the ancient technique of the altarpiece to present, this is the world that has been created. There is an art historical event occurring in that he chooses to work within a grand European painting tradition.
And some of them are staged, and some of them are based on real people and show real people. And I think they were the ones that were probably most powerful to me.
I think it moves from what feels like fiction to fact.
There's also an interesting interplay between the gaze in these works. In some works, there's no gaze whatsoever, but there's no one looking back at us. The people's faces are being covered in the act of torture.
What I see and what I get from that is the fact that that's a situation whereby the rule of law and any form of justice has completely disintegrated and broken down. What the Hooded Men sequence shows me is that it's the state itself, it's the state that is to blame, it is the state that is breaking the rule of law.
You know that behind each one is a different man, and he's actually, as that photograph's been taken, he's reliving a memory, like a really potent, powerful, horrible memory.
Because here he wasn't creating a tableau with actors, he was creating it with the very men who had suffered the torture. And his own humanity just came out.
I thought how the images of the Hooded Men set opposite the images of the Black Supper were really interesting, and it brought to mind the idea of betrayal and how torture is used to make the person betray or confess.
I mean, there's something really interesting about his art, and that it's sacred and it debases what he's talking about as well, which is a kind of a very interesting juxtaposition. Is he actually denigrating religion in some way? But he does it in the most kind of adulatory kind of way.
I thought that was really interesting, that it was put in a separate gallery. It was almost like a sacred space, but alongside it was a very visceral image of a man naked and kneeling on the floor.
I think there's more in the show that is to be upset about as a human. The sense of torture in them is very real for me. Whenever you walk around it, there's definitely a sense of masculinity. It feels very male dominated, and it's not until you're exiting the show that you see on the left hand side the picture of the lady with the scarf in the hands, and it feels very powerful. It's a very powerful way to exit the show for me.
When you go to an exhibition and you take the time to stand and look at a painting or a photograph, the world at that moment just seems to stop for you. You tend to think about what you're looking at and why you're looking at and what you can get from it. When you're at an exhibition of such gravity of this, and it's such weight, and you're presented with an image, it really does make you think about the theme of injustice and what is happening.